came from glory. Oh, he gave his life on Calvary to save a wretch like me.
Hello and welcome to Supramundane. In this video, I'm telling the story of Tammy Faye Messner, formerly Tammy Faye Bakker. This video obviously mentions the scandal, but if you're looking for a deep dive into it, this isn't it. This video is more just about her life and who she was. Tammy Faye was a singer that released 16 albums, an author with 5 books, but is most commonly known for being a televangelist and gay icon. She was also known for her crying, her bubbly personality, her appearance, her mascara, and her tattooed-on makeup. Before I begin, I want to shout out Fundie Friday's video, BAKKERMANIA. It's a really good video and I used it as a source. I put the rest of the sources in the description box and they'll also be listed at the end of the video. Also, I tried my best to find pictures and videos, but for some things, especially their earlier days, I couldn't find much. Anyways, if you like this video, smash those buttons. Tammy Faye was born Tamara Faye LaValle on March 7, 1942 in International Falls, Minnesota. Her parents were Pentecostal preachers, Rachel Fairchild and Carl LaValle. Rachel and Carl were married in 1941, but shortly after Tammy Faye was born they went through a painful divorce which soured her mother against other ministries and resulted in her being alienated from the church. Rachel later got remarried to Fred Grover, which created a blended family, and Tammy Faye became the eldest of 8 children. I couldn't find much more about her early life, but I want to mention that I just saw the 2021 movie, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and her mom is depicted as a little mean, and there was a scene where Tammy Faye went into the church, drank the wine, started speaking in tongue, fell on the floor, and peed herself. I don't know how true any of that is, but I just wanted to mention it. In 1960, she met Jim Bakker at North Central Bible College in Minneapolis, Minnesota. While in Minneapolis, Tammy Faye worked in a boutique and Jim worked in a restaurant inside a department store. They both dropped out of college and got married on April 1, 1961. In 1962, they moved to South Carolina where they started their ministry together. They traveled around the United States. Jim would preach while Tammy Faye sang and played the accordion. In 1966, Jim and Tammy Faye began working at Pat Robertson's Christian Broadcasting Network, or CBN, in Portsmouth, Virginia. CBN had an audience in the low thousands, but Jim and Tammy Faye contributed to the network's growth. They hosted a children's variety show called Come On Over that consisted of comic routines with puppets. Because of the success of Come On Over, Pat Robertson made Jim the host of their new primetime talk show, The 700 Club, which became CBN's flagship program and still exists today. In 1970, they had their first child, a daughter, Tammy Sue. Also in 1970, Tammy Faye released her debut album, Tammy, 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 which would be followed by 15 more albums between 1970 and 1996. Jim and Tammy Faye left CBN in 1972, and in 1973 helped Paul and Jan Crouch co-found Trinity Broadcasting Network. This partnership only lasted 8 months when Jim and Tammy Faye left due to a falling out between Jim and Paul. In 1974, Jim and Tammy Faye founded the PTL Club, or the Praise the Lord Club. PTL was a televangelist Christian news program. The PTL Club grew quickly into its own network and generated $120 million annually in the second half of the 1970s. In 1975, they had their second child, a son, Jamie, also known as Jay. During this time, Jim and Tammy's relationship was falling apart behind the scenes. Tammy Faye later said, "You could feel it on the set, you could feel it when visiting our home. Jim became so preoccupied with the development of Heritage Village that there was little energy left over for deepening our relationship. While I encouraged his efforts, I began to feel more distant from him than ever." In 1978, they used $200 million of PTL funds to build Heritage USA, a Christian theme park that it is now abandoned due to what's to come, but at the time was ranked along Disney as one of the most popular theme parks in the United States. On the PTL network, Tammy Faye often provided a sentimental touch to stories and sang Christian songs. She was noted for her candid discussion of topics considered taboo amongst many of her peers, including penile implants, yes, penile implants, to acceptance and compassion for the LGBT community. In the mid-1980s, at the height of the AIDS epidemic, Tammy Faye interviewed a gay Christian minister with AIDS on a segment of the PTL Club called Tammy Faye's House Party.
I know you must feel lonely sometimes because with people not being well informed on AIDS, everyone is so terribly frightened of it, you know. And so therefore they're frightened of anyone who has it. Have you found this to be true, that people want to stay away and they're afraid to come up to you and they're afraid to be anywhere in the same room or breathe the same air you breathe?
Yes, Tammy, that happens.
You know, and how sad that we as Christians, who are to be the salt of the earth, and we who are supposed to be able to love everyone, are afraid so badly of an AIDS patient that we will not go up and put our arm around them and tell them that we care.
Yes. I know, it is tragic, and that's the tragedy
Steve,
of the situation.
I just want to tell you something.
What's that, Tammy?
If there would have been any way, you know, I know you were sick, and that's the only reason we didn't have you come and sit in the studio next to us today, because you have your chemotherapy treatments, and you needed to get home quickly so you wouldn't miss them. But I want to tell you, there's a lot of Christians here who love you and who wouldn't be afraid to put their arm around you and tell you that we love you and that we care.
Thank you, Tammy. You have a wonderful way of reaching people, Tammy, and I think that you are doing it by doing this program. You're helping us. You are bringing us back to life. Your courage in doing this interview is bringing me to life.
Oh.
It's giving me life to know that there are Christians who really do care about people with AIDS.
Steve, I want you to make sure now, you've got our telephone number, and I want you to make sure and keep in touch with us.
I will.
And if you need someone to pray with, if you need someone just to talk or to hold your hand across those many miles, I just want you to know that there'll be someone here that is here at PTL 24 hours a day to tell you that we love you and that we care. And
Well, I love you, Tammy.
And we're praying for you.
I look forward to meeting you in person.
Oh, God bless you, and we want you to beat this disease.
I will,
Oh,
with Jesus' help.
God bless you, Steve, and thank you very much for a very
bless you too,
eye-opening
Tammy.
interview. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Throughout the AIDS epidemic, Tammy Faye advocated for the viewers of PTL to follow Christ and pray and show compassion for those with AIDS. During this time, she also invited drug addicts onto the show to interview them about substance abuse and addiction. In 1987, it was also reported that Tammy Faye herself was being treated for an addiction to Ativan. In a video for the PTL network, she said she saw hell. Tammy Faye said that her drug problem began 17 years ago while she was pregnant with her daughter and started taking allergy pills. She went through several weeks of inpatient treatment as well as outpatient treatment afterwards and seemed to make a great recovery from her addiction. The Bakkers' control of PTL collapsed in 1987 after it was revealed that Jim used $287,000 of the organization's money to buy silence from Jessica Hahn, who claims Jim sexually assaulted her. Jim claimed that he was set up and that their sexual relationship was consensual. This revelation invited scrutiny of the Bakkers and charges made about their opulent life, including media reports of gold-plated bathroom fixtures, dominated the news. In March of 1987, they left PTL and said a final goodbye on the channel.
People standing with us all over and saying, Jim, we do forgive you. We forgive Jim and Tammy of all of their sins. And we're so thankful that God has forgiven us. We don't know what the future holds, but I can assure you, Jim and Tammy someday will be helping people again. I believe the sun will shine again.
I do too, Jim.
Do you want to sing it?
I'll do it.
Can you do it?
I sure
All right, Tammy Faye is going to sing a song for you just before we leave our house.
Maybe you're hurting and you need this song today too, so I'll sing it for both of us, okay?
The revelations of this payoff invited scrutiny of Jim's finances, which prompted him to be charged with fraud. In 1989, Jim was sentenced to 45 years in prison and was charged a $500,000 fine on 24 fraud and conspiracy counts. Later, his sentence was reduced and he served only nearly 5 years in prison. Tammy Faye stood by Jim through the scandal, including several instances when she cried on camera. Tammy Faye being a crier became sort of a meme at the time, and a lot of people made fun of her for it, including on SNL.
Tammy, we have a bit of goop on our face. Oh, I'm sorry. That's mascara. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Well, apparently Tammy missed her mouth is moving, but we have no idea what we're saying, do we?
Her crying was a big part of her identity and something that most people will think of when they hear the name Tammy Faye. In 1992, while Jim was still in prison, Tammy Faye filed for divorce, stating that, "For years I have been pretending that everything is alright, when in fact I hurt all the time. I cannot pretend anymore." In 1993, she married property developer Roe Messner in Rancho Mirage, California. They moved to the Charlotte suburb of Matthews, North Carolina. Roe had a contracting business and built much of Heritage USA and had been a family friend to the Bakkers throughout the PTL years. In Jim Bakker's fraud trial, Roe testified for Jim's defense, saying that Jerry Falwell Sr., another televangelist who was trying to take over PTL, had sent him to the Bakker home to make an offer to keep Jerry quiet. In 1996, Roe was convicted of bankruptcy fraud because he claimed to owe nearly $30 million to over 300 creditors in 1990. He was sentenced to and served 27 months in prison. In 1996, Tammy Faye re-entered the public eye after Jim and Roe's arrests. She published her autobiography, Tammy, Telling It My Way, and she co-hosted the Jim J. and Tammy Faye Show with Jim J. Bullock. During 1996, Tammy Faye was diagnosed with colon cancer but went into remission by the end of 1996. She appeared on the Roseanne Talk Show where she talked about her makeup and cancer.
People criticize you about your makeup all the time. How mad does that make you?
You know, it's gotten to where I just laugh at them because I think it's just a face. And I think everyone deserves to be who they want to be, who they are. I think everyone needs to be able to wear the face they're comfortable with. You know, if you look good, then you feel good about yourself.
No, your makeup is extreme.
You think it
it's
is?
very extreme.
Roseanne, yours is sort of like mine today. You just have a little less eyeliner on.
Well, I have false
you have false
eyelashes
and everything.
But, I mean, what does it mean to you?
Nothing.
It's like, no, it obviously means something. It obviously
It probably
means something.
deep down does somewhere, but I probably have to get a psychiatrist to dig it out. And I've never been to one, so I'm not too worried about it.
Do you think that you, I don't
well,
mean
you know, okay.
I don't mean to disrespect you. I just want to know you.
I think I feel ugly without it.
Tammy Faye, you are a woman who kicked cancer in the butt.
I kicked it right in the butt.
You got rid of cancer.
I did. When I found out I had cancer, I had been bleeding for a year. And everyone told me, the people that I went to, my gynecologist,
what kind of
which
cancer
was a
did
woman,
you have?
I had colon cancer. And they thought it was...
Did you think that was happening for a year because of stress
I thought it was hemorrhoids. They told me that's what it was, that it was bleeding hemorrhoids. So I tried all the things that you would try with hemorrhoids, and it would help temporarily, but then it would come back. Well, when we started our own show, the Jim J. and Tammy Faye Show, it got really, really bad. And so I knew I had to go to a proctologist. But when I found out I had cancer, it never scared me, Roseanne. It really did not. I never had the first ounce of fear. Beating cancer to me was, it was something I wasn't afraid of. Because, Roseanne, God made our bodies, and I trust God with me. And He has promised in the Bible that He will not put more on us than we can bear.
That's right.
And sometimes I've looked up and said, hey, God, you made a mistake. You know, you're going a little too far here. Pull back a bit, you know. Help!
I know what that feels like. I do know what that feels like.
But He promised that in His Word, and I trust God's Word.
Despite her background in Christian fundamentalism, Tammy Faye became a gay icon after parting from PTL. She appeared in gay pride marches with people like Lady Bunny and Bruce Vilanch. She refused to denounce the LGBT community and also expressed compassion toward them and urged for support for Americans with HIV and AIDS while it was still a very feared disease. She also appeared as a guest on the RuPaul show where she talked about being compared to a drag queen.
You do dress very flamboyantly. People have called you a queen, drag queen, before. It's true, right? What do you say to those people who say, oh, you know, she dresses up too much?
I say everybody must be who they are. Young people, don't ever let anyone make you something that you're not.
That's
you have
right.
the right to be who you are.
That's right. And you say all of this in your book, which is called Telling It My Way
Yes.
by Tammy Faye Messner.
and her and RuPaul became good friends. She was the subject of the 2000 documentary The Eyes of Tammy Faye, not to be confused with the 2021 biopic with the same title. The documentary was narrated by RuPaul, and there was a follow-up film titled Tammy Faye Death Defying, released in 2004. Also in 2004, she was on the second season of the VH1 show The Surreal Life. The show followed a 12-day period where she, Ron Jeremy, Vanilla Ice, Tracy Bingham, Eric Estrada, and Trishelle Canatella lived together in a Los Angeles house and were assigned various tasks and activities. During March of 2004, Tammy Faye appeared on Larry King Live and announced that she had inoperable lung cancer and would soon begin chemotherapy. Then, in November of 2004, she appeared on Larry King Live again to announce that she was cancer-free. She was once again on Larry King in July of 2005, where she announced that her cancer had returned. In March of 2006, she appeared back on King's show and said she was continuing to suffer from lung cancer and that it had progressed to stage 4, but she was still receiving treatment. She mentioned having difficulty swallowing and suffering from panic attacks and substantial weight loss. Also in 2006, she appeared on Jan Crouch's show for a praise-a-thon.
But when it the pain becomes physical, it becomes a little bit more hard. And sometimes it tries your faith a little bit more. And I've been walking up and down the aisles of my house. I've been walking up and down between the bedrooms of our house. And I've been crying out, Jesus, Jesus. You know, I want to be so full of Jesus. And during this cancer thing that I've been going through, it is drawing me closer to the Lord. His presence surrounds me constantly.
Tammy Faye was a guest by phone once again on King's show in December of 2006, where she stated that she was receiving hospice care in her home. On July 18, 2007, Tammy Faye made a final appearance on Larry King Live. At the time, she said that she weighed 65 pounds and was unable to eat solid food. Ro Messner later said that he thinks she did this interview as a final goodbye to her fans. I'm not going to show a clip from this interview just because it's extremely sad and kind of disturbing, and I don't really think anyone should remember her in that way, but if you really need to see it, you can find it. 2 days later, on July 20th, 2007, Tammy Faye died in her home near Kansas City, Missouri. She was 65 years old. A family service was held July 21st at the Messner family plot in Waldron, Kansas, where her ashes were later buried. Tammy Faye's legacy is that of an icon. She has had movies, plays, and musicals made about her life. RuPaul's Drag Race Season 4 winner, Sharon Needles, has a tattoo of Tammy Faye. Saying in an interview, "Growing up, I had a huge infatuation with her. The makeup, the tears, the preaching, the scandal, the shoulder pads. My kind of lady, the ultimate survivor of adversity." In an interview by Today, when asked about the PTL scandal, Tammy Sue, Tammy Faye's daughter, said, "She just persevered through all of it, no matter how bad it got." Tammy Sue also said about her mother, "She just knew how to live life to the fullest. She loved Diet Coke and Sweet 16 powdered donuts, fudge, candy, and birthday cake. She said she loved when the icing would tickle her teeth. She just had this childlike quality about her, but so much depth at the same time. She was very layered, very deep, but just so much fun. Despite everything she went through, a scandal, a divorce, cancer, she still managed to spread positivity and love everywhere, especially toward the LGBT community, who needed love from a person exactly like her, during a time when everyone feared and hated them because of the AIDS epidemic. Tammy Faye left a massive impact by trying her best to normalize homosexuality within religion. She stood against everyone in the televangelist community and spoke positively of the LGBT community. She made a safe space for LGBT Christians. Tammy Faye is a role model for standing up for what you believe in. The memory of Tammy Faye should always be that of a person who spread positivity and love everywhere. Tammy Faye is forever an icon.